Time marches on. It never halts, it never ceases. And in its endless advance, it carries all of us with it, changing our bodies, our minds, our souls with each step. But some resist change. Some stand against the tides of time, unyielding. Champions of times long gone, they prowl the deepest recesses of the world, awaiting to be discovered anew. To study our world is a privilege, and one that the Hunters Guild takes very seriously. While it is first and foremost an organization aimed at protecting civilians and pushing back against the threat of monsters, their academic work is equally as impressive. Libraries across all major guild cities have amassed vast troves of knowledge on monster behavior, ecology, anatomy, and more. This wealth of information is carefully curated and categorized by scholars and scriveners, forming the body of scientific prowess the guild now holds so dear. Many of these insights were collected as a result of hunters facing these creatures day in and day out. And in turn, the more knowledge is accrued, the more it aids in further hunting operations. Thanks to these efforts, the Hunters Guild is among the most prolific curators of scientific advances and breakthroughs known to us today. One of its greatest achievements is the creation of various phylogenies, diagrams that describe the relations between species of monsters. It was an arduous task, and one that is updated frequently to this day. But even more impressive are the attempts at creating such lineage trees for extinct species. Despite many difficulties, the guild has managed to maintain and analyze a respectable fossil record. While it has obvious gaps, such as jungles which produce little to no fossils, it is a wide enough collection to allow for some assumptions and reconstructions of the past to be made. The single most successful reconstruction of this kind is the lineage of bird wyvern. Classified into the suborder Avepoda, bird wyvern are an abundant class of monsters that can be found in nearly any habitat. They are also a very ancient group of monsters, with its earliest representatives appearing even before the long-gone wyvern wrecks. This wealth of species and ancient lineage made them the perfect starting point when trying to construct a possible history of wyvern, and so the guild went to work. One extremely helpful moment in this effort was the discovery of a certain bird wyvern, whose body and life gave many clues to those of its ancestors. In the deep jungles of southern Fonron, researchers discovered a living fossil, the Hypnocatrice. Despite being covered in bright feathers said to shine in 7 different colors, this bird wyvern long eluded the guild. Fonron is vast, and the Hypnocatrice seems to have a fairly small habitat range, while also being somewhat rare. But this discovery was worth it, because the Hypnocatrice is a creature whose body has not changed much for millennia. Isolated in this deep green paradise, it did not need to buckle under many evolutionary pressures, standing as a remnant of species long gone. It was thanks to insights gained through its discovery that the history of bird wyvern was finally reconstructed thusly. Long ago, before even the wyvern wrecks, there was a wyvern now called Iguru Ebisu. It is considered the originator of all bird wyvern and the first member of Avepoda. It was a large, feathered creature that is believed to have been an extremely agile flyer, outmaneuvering prey while airborne and skewering them with its spear-like beak. Its long legs were quite stiff and inflexible by comparison. For reasons that are currently still unknown, the Iguruebisu split off into two separate lineages. One descendant line began losing its wings gradually, developing stronger legs over time. The earliest known representative of this lineage is called the Keputosu, a somewhat pitiful creature caught between evolutionary pressures. This featherless whelp had degenerated wings that were bad at flying, and still developing legs that were bad at running. Despite this, it managed to survive long enough to spawn one of the two major groups of modern bird wyvern, the runner wyvern, flightless, raptor-like creatures. The other descendant of Iguruebisu, meanwhile, retained its wings, and began iterating on its ancestors' existing body plan. The oldest representative of this branch is the Borudoru, which had a much more developed beak, strong wings and stronger legs, and hard scales interspersed between its feathers. It gave rise to the second major group of modern bird wyverns, the true bird wyverns, defined by their large, functional wings. And this is where the discovery of the Hypnocatrice was essential. It is nearly identical to the Borudoru, so much so that it was initially suggested to be a survivor of that exact species. However, more detailed analysis has shown that the Hypnocatrice is something equally as exciting. A direct, mostly unchanged descendant of this extinct creature, possibly the oldest extant species of bird wyvern. Thus, its physiology and ecology can give us a glimpse into that distant past. Like its direct ancestor, the Hypnocatrice has a varied diet, including both plant and animal matter, with the latter being its preferred nutrition. Its bizarre beak aids in this. The outward angled spikes jutting from it help both in tearing through fibrous plants like ferns and shrubs, and in skewering small fish near the surface of the water. In addition to this, it can also use its legs to grab hold of prey before eating it. Its beak can, however, not chew, and so, like many other known animals, it must rely on gastroliths, small rocks that it swallows regularly that sit in the stomach and help break down the larger fibers the Hypnocatrice may ingest on occasion. Curiously, while many animals are known to use gastroliths, the Hypnocatrice is the only known bird wyvern to use them. Prowling the great forest, the Hypnocatrice lives a simple and solitary life, only pairing up during the mating season when their feathers become even more brilliant. Sometimes, a Hypnocatrice may encounter an enemy, be it another bird wyvern, a larger predator, or even a hunter. It is in these moments that the creature shows its cunning nature. Hypnocatrice are generally somewhat timid creatures, uninterested in direct conflict. But they are also known to be opportunistically cruel. If they see a chance to bully and beat a weaker opponent, they will absolutely do so. In these cases, the Hypnocatrice is a brutal foe, kicking and pecking its target to death fairly effectively. But should it decide that the opponent is in fact too powerful, the bird wyvern will use a special escape tactic. In its body, the Hypnocatrice has a special organ called a sleep sac. This structure collects a certain kind of chemical from the bird wyvern's diet, soporific substances found in the sleep herbs and sleepy fish that the animal eats. These substances are then concentrated in a sleep sac as a mucus, which the Hypnocatrice can spit out of its mouth on command. This mucus can knock out large creatures near instantly, putting them into a deep state of sleep. Using this ability, the Hypnocatrice can incapacitate an enemy and either choose to kill the vulnerable foe or simply escape the scene. This sleep mucus gives the Hypnocatrice an extremely potent weapon, and as a result, few monsters dare harass it. Its tough scale armor under its feathers is also much more resilient than one might expect, so it is by no means an easy target. That has, however, not stopped everyone, namely humans. Both hunters and poachers have on numerous occasions gone out of their way to hunt Hypnocatrice due to its highly precious materials. The feathers on the backside of the wyvern are beautiful and a popular component for making lavish jewelry. Additionally, Hypnocatrices are known to routinely spit out their old gastroliths once they become worn down, abandoning them and searching for new ones. Old Hypnocatrice gastroliths are called bezoar stones, and have a distinct surface carved by the wyvern's stomach acid. They are considered quite valuable by blacksmiths due to their many uses in armor crafting. Despite the value of Hypnoc materials, the guild only rarely receives requests or assignments related to Hypnocatrice. They tend to stick to remote regions such as the Great Forest of Funron, where they usually don't bother anyone enough to justify a hunting quest. The only hunters that still regularly cite Hypnocatrice are those of Mesoporta, a district of Dandorma that employs its own semi-independent union of hunters called the Frontier Corps. These frontier hunters claim to have seen and fought many different kinds of Hypnocatrice, bright purple and gold and white. While the guild highly values the skill and experience of the Frontier Corps, these reports have so far not been verified. Creatures such as the Hypnocatrice stand as vanguards against time. Pillars of an era long gone that keep alive the past through their very existence. And it is our duty, and our privilege, to study and observe them as we unravel ever more about this world we call home. Next time on Monster Hunter Ecology. A king among his people, an invincible shield in the sand. It bursts from the earth, ready to defend and deflect. As it carries the ancient dead on its back, its black eyes hone in on those that would threaten its family. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, I hope you enjoyed. And a very special thank you to all of my patrons, including Big Bento, My Name Gone, The Dollarfish, Yamiroth, Andre, Ryan Hook, Thick, Kuroneko, Zion H.V. Augenson, A.J. Rivera, Alistair, Jacob Bennett, Soruka, Gangreatest, Sir Newt, Terrador, Emperor Eevee, Rambling Robin, Hashi, Black Ace 202, Dissy, Habo Himbro Mirror, Magenta, Danilo Villavicencio, Arcturian 711, Russell, Person 212, Claire Miboon, Oakwood Tree, Mr. Pyramid, Perifuego, Makot 02, Project Iceman, Geo, Nils Schlatter, Iron Camel, and I'm going to bed. Take care, everyone. See you for the next episode. Bye-bye.